Howdy everyone. Armstrong here, and today I'm talking about, guess what? The lip of somebody you think you know. So guess who this is? So this is the lip and this is the eyes. Do you know what it is? Some of you might know, some of you might not. This is Erica from the Big Brother Nigeria. I think a lot of you might have seen her or know her.
Look at him, I still feel very stupid for ever saying that he's the best, he's like my best friend in the house, or the person that had my back and all of that.
Well, she had issues with Lakon and stuff in the Big Brother, but doesn't matter. What we're talking about is a lip. So the first thing I want to do basically is to crop this out. So I'm actually in Photoshop CS6. Now the reason is because I want to use oil paint. So I'm just going to crop this out like this. I think we want to just use just this part. This part is good for just the tutorial. So I'm going to just crop this part and go to image size just to increase it as well. So the resolution is in 96. I'm going to make it 300. I'll probably add a little bit of width and height. So this doesn't look bad at all. Now the reason I'm usually doing this is because this is very small and I'm using Photoshop CS6. I actually have a system that can do other versions of Photoshop and probably 2022 still, but the fact that a lot of my subscribers, I don't think getting a bigger system with a lot of graphics card and those other things, I don't think is very affordable. So I try to stick with the old or previous one. I actually use a very funny laptop. You'll be very surprised about what I use. So I'm just basically cropping this, and yeah. Now the next thing I want to do is very simple. I want to just reduce when you're working on the teeth. There's one of the mistakes I usually make. I used to make actually, but now I'm a pro. Call me a pro. So I'm going to go to shadows and highlights, and when you're taking out the shadows, it's going to give you this worn out lip. So I'm going to take it down a bit. Then I'm just going to make this. Now for the highlight, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this down a bit, the amount. I'll take it down a bit. Now that's so that I'll be able to see the light, where the light shows, then see the different highlights on the teeth. Basically, that's just basically what I'm doing. So I'm going to make it 9. I'm going to keep the picture for reference in the description so that you see it. And I'm going to duplicate with Ctrl J. This process I do it over and over again, but just to add a few things so that you get to see it. Now I'm duplicating the layer twice so that you get to see. Now for this one up, is where I'm going to put the vivid light. So I'm going to put vivid light, the one up. Then I'm just going to name it so you guys will see it. And some people have a lot of issue. Vivid light, and this is main. Why did I type vivid low? This is light, L-I. Yeah, that's better because I'm going to merge it. Then I'll come to filter, I'll go to order, I'll go to high pass. Now this is basically very nice. Now one thing I want to make sure I do is always to keep this highlight on the teeth. Now this part, or this part of the teeth, the highlights are very important. So you might want to just keep that out. So before we had that, I'm going to turn this vivid light layer off. And you see it's slightly sharper, and that's just basically it. You can just add sharpness instead of going through this highlight procedure and that. So what I'm going to do is to cut out the lip, and because this is just where I want to work on. So while cutting out the lip, one of the things I usually do is, now normally I would cut it out like this or something, but one of the things I usually do is to come over here and add a little bit of bevel right on top of the lip, right here like this. Then when I get to this place, I don't come in like this. I usually take this part. Now she made up, so there's a little bit of extra a part that the lipstick didn't really cover. So that's what I usually do. The same thing I talked about the hair, in one of my videos about working with the hair. Now I'll just basically ravage, or what is ravage? Ravage is probably like when you go into the bush and bite you. That's very funny when you go into a place. And then now getting to this part, I'm going to join it together with the pen tool. Of course, if you don't know how to use the pen tool, I think you should really go and learn how to use the pen tool. Saying that, the next thing is just probably just going to merge and duplicate. This is so we have just the lip. Now this is what we have. Not bad, not bad at all. So basically what I'm going to do is cut this out. Now the next thing I usually do is to cut out the inner. Now this inner part. So I mean I'll cut out this inner where there's the gum, the mouth, that inner part of the mouth. So I'm just going to cut this out, and I'll be very careful. Now when I'm cutting out the inner, there's an invisible line here, or this part. So that's what I'm basically doing. I'm going to cut this out like this. When you're cutting it out, you should be very careful. Oh, I think a lot of you guys like my long tutorials, so that you can just probably watch and probably have a nice time. You guys like it when the tutorials are long and are so nice. That's not bad. I usually used to like a lot of long tutorials before, but I mean right now producing long tutorials is like a lot of issue. So I'm done with this. I'm going to press Ctrl J. Now, so this is what I have, the inner mouth. Now, one very, very, very important tip is what I want to do next, and that is cutting out the teeth. Now, after cutting out the gum, the next thing I like doing is cutting out the teeth. So, and I'm usually very careful when I'm cutting out the teeth, because when you don't cut it out very, very carefully, you have this black gum, and because you're adding white to even you add white, a white color over probably a normal color, sometimes you notice that it gets like it's that part turns black or something. I don't know if you really notice what I'm talking about, but however, you just need to be very careful with this. She has a very nice dentition, so that's what I'm basically doing, and I'm just going to fast forward this a little bit to save a little bit of time. Now doing this, the next thing I usually do is to separate the teeth. Now this is what I have, but I have the tongue and those other things inside here, so I like just cutting them out. After doing the main one, then I'll cut them out. You might have your way of cutting out pictures from the layer, of separating different pictures. That's totally up to you. When you practice more, probably you devise your own means, because if you're watching this video on Christmas Day, Merry Christmas. If you're watching it on New Year, Happy New Year. Hope your 2022 was nice. I was off YouTube for a very long time, so a lot of guys missed me. A lot of guys didn't even realize I was gone. When you leave your house for a while and then you come back home and you're like, who missed me? And everybody's like, oh, were you even gone? I don't mean like your family house. Being where your mama is going to definitely miss you. Your mom is definitely going to miss you, or your pops or your father. So that doesn't even count. So I'm going to press enter. I'm just going to delete this part. That's just basically what I'm going to do. I'm just taking off the other one out of it. So for those that really missed me all those times, thank you for checking up on me. Some people checked up on me. Then for my Telegram group, if you're in my Telegram group, or if you want to join my Telegram group, there's a link in the description below. You can also just join. It's going to help you. Like I said, I might not be online 100%. Well, for the meantime, I've been commenting on virtually every single post that has been dropped there. And because I have to create more tutorials and I have to do a whole lot of other things. So now this is the teeth we have. Now add the gum, we add the mouth. The mouth is complete. So basically what I usually do first is to cut out the lip. Now this is the lip. I'm going to duplicate this. Now duplicating, I'm going to press Ctrl. I'm going to name this inner mouth and name this what? Teeth. I think, yeah, that's teeth. Yeah. So I want to name this lip. LIP. Then this is base layer. It's actually good practice to name your layers. It's very, very good practice. I always consciously do that. Now for the inner lip, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to delete it. Then I'll turn off so this is the lip. We have the outer lip. Now this is very perfect. Then we'll have the inner lip, and then we'll have the teeth. So that's what I'm basically doing. And for the lip, First, Photoshop CSS crashes a whole lot, so what I'm going to basically do is to save it. So I'm going to pick up the lip, then I'm going to just add oil paint. Now when adding oil paint, I'm going to add a little bit of oil paint. Now there's a reason I'm adding oil paint, and I'm going to tell you why. Now when you're adding oil paint, one thing you need to really consider is to take down the shine all the way to 0, because I see a lot of patients do something like this. This is very bad, like very terribly bad. So take out the shine all the way to 0. I don't like putting shine, or probably 3 or something, just to probably not make it totally, but I do like taking it to 0. Now for the cleanliness, it depends on what picture you are working on. You know, when I take the cleanliness or the stylization up like this, it's going to ruin the image, and I see a lot of patients do this. I mean, they have watched my videos a whole lot and they still do this, and I think it's very terrible. Give it a little bit of natural feel. That roughness is very important still. Then probably cleanliness somewhere here, you know. Don't make it look too weak or something. It's going to be very bad for business. Now this is what we have. It doesn't look like a whole lot, but so I'm just going to show you how it was before and how it is now, you know. So not so bad. Now for the gum, for the inner mouth, I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to the oil paint. Now ignore the teeth. What I'm basically doing is for the inner mouth, so I'm just going to leave it because it doesn't have so much, so I'm just going to probably increase it. I actually increase the stylization a little bit when I come to this part because I need it to be neater than it is, you know, just have a little bit of neatness. Now for the teeth, it has been untouched, so what I'm going to do is to work on the teeth as well. So I'm going to go to filter, I'll go to oil paint still. Now for the teeth, what I usually do is, now I see a lot of patients do this. I mean, how can the teeth have this feel? Now the reason you have this is because of the shine. Now the shine is actually here, so if I increase it much, it looks very fake. It looks like something on stone. So I'm just going to take it all the way to 0. Then probably turn on the cleanliness a bit and stylization, and I'm going to go and I press OK. Yeah, so this is what we'll have. After pressing OK, I mean, this is not bad at all. This is not bad at all. So basically that's what I'm going to do. And then for final confirmation, I'm going to continue now by smudging. What I'm going to do basically, as I normally smudge, I would press Ctrl J to duplicate the lip, and to clip it, either press right click and go to create clipping mask. Now you know the reason I clip. The biggest reason is because I want the colors and everything to be confined to the area of the main teeth. So if I clip this here, it means everything I'm going to be doing is going to be confined to this area. Like if I add this, and for those old guys on my channel, you're going to be like, oh, Armstrong, just continue, I understand what you're talking about. But for the sake of those that are just coming, I'm just going to do that again. So I mean, anything I do is going to be confined to this area, so that's what I mean. Okay, so for this, I'm going to pick the smudge brush. Now it's in my video description. If you really don't know how to install it, there is a video for how to extract and how to install. So what I usually do when I get to this place is to make sure all these edges, now you can make the strength 30, then clip it and then just smudge. You know the right way to smudge. I released a new video recently. I think that was my last video, so if you want to check that out, the last video before this. So I think I might have to switch to Photoshop CC17. A lot of guys have asked me, oh Armstrong, how do you switch your Photoshop? Now one of the biggest ways I do that is to close the program and then open it on Photoshop CC17. Easy. Ta-da! They both look alike. Yeah they do, they look alike, but I mean there's a slight difference in the both of them. So the next thing I'm going to do is to just pick my smudge brush here. Now when I'm smudging, what I'm basically doing is to preserve with the strength at 30, I'm just going to preserve the realism of it. And now I have these lines. I'm going to choose this. I have these lines on it, so what I'm basically going to do is to preserve the lines, different lines. So I'm going to choose the smudge brush and to just work on these lines to preserve it. You know, it gives the lip this feel, so you don't come out with this lip that looks very blotted out, you know. So that's basically what I'm doing, just preserving the feel of the lip. This might not be the exact right picture, because if I was thinking, if I came up with something from something that had to focus on the lip, I mean, we are not always going to get this kind of picture. So So what do you do when you don't have something like that? So this is what I basically do. Then you just get this. Now the smile is everything for a lady or for a guy or for persons. Now if you see me smile, it feels very heavenly. I don't know. If somebody said I laugh too much on one of my videos, the person said, Armstrong, you laugh too much, and I'm like, yeah, that's really not very easy. So when I get to the lower lip here, the lip has these lines. So I just like to preserve them. I mean, I don't like to brush it out like this. I like to preserve them, like, you know, just to give it that little feel of that. Oh yeah, this is real, you know. So that's why I add oil paint, so it will give me a little bit of. There's no particular way. There's no particular line to preserve, you know. So that's what I'm basically doing. I just touch. I'm just dabbing on it, yeah, something like that. So I don't have. Then when I come to the edge of the mouth like this is where it gets a little bit pronounced. So I'm just basically adding that, you know, since it's a little bit pronounced. I'm basically just adding this, you know, just to make it better and to give it this feel of, yeah, I look like something good, yeah, you know, something like that. That's very funny. So this is what I have now. You know, it's very funny because sometimes it feels like we have not done a lot of things, but I don't think it's really terrible. You know, I don't want to say I don't think it's bad, or I don't want to say I think it's very good. So this is what we have. So for the lip, I'm going to turn off. This is before and this is now. You see, what I basically did was to just clean it up a bit, and I still smudged it. So this is how to have a lip. Now for the inner mouth, I'm going to come to this place. Now the reason I didn't take off the teeth layer from the inner mouth is so that it will just give it this little bevel. So I'm going to, this is the inner mouth, so I'm going to clip it like this on top of this one. And what I want to do basically is have all these layers where you know, there's this harsh light. I'm just going to preserve them still, but make sure it's very smooth. You know, make sure transitions are very smooth like this. You know, then when I get to the lower part of the teeth, now there's always this non-uniformity when it comes. Now I'm just going to turn on the teeth so it guides me to where I'm working on. Yeah, this part. So for this part, yeah, this is what I'm just going to do. Just basically smudge alongside this part, you know, to just give it. Then when I come to the teeth, now this is like the biggest part. I'm going to duplicate with Ctrl J. I'll clip it still. Now when I'm working on the teeth, one thing I want to keep is this part. Is there's this highlight, all this part, this has highlight. So what I'm going to do is just to preserve them, but make sure the teeth is very clean, so she doesn't look like she did a plastic surgery or she went biting people like she's a vampire from Teen Wolf. Yeah, I think Teen Wolf was like the biggest. Teen Wolf, yeah, I think Teen Wolf, yeah, or Dracula Untold. That's very funny. Dracula, yeah, I think I was watching that movie once and it was crazy funny. You know the Dracula, I mean the one that has a son. Says the son of a dragon or something. That was very funny. So I'm basically smudging this part. I'm basically smudging this part and using the smudge brush to make sure this is not very boring. So sometimes what I do when I want to, there's a habit I have actually. So I think I should share that to you guys, just in case you want to tap in. I don't know if it's a bad or good habit. I really don't eat without watching something, and that's very funny. It sounds very trivial, but I mean, anytime I want to eat, I have to watch something because I feel it helps my brain process and eat the food faster. Because I'm not really except there are a few meals I like eating, but if it's different, I mean, I really don't like eating a lot, so I need that food to be able to process that or distract my brain or something. I know that sounds very crazy, but yeah, this is basically what I'm doing like this. So I'm just basically smudging along this axis. So yeah, now when I've done this, you know, this is like basically it. So because of this sake of this tutorial, the tutorial is long already. But for anybody that's around by this time, it means you are a true warrior, you are a true creator. I call those that follow me, or follow the things I say. Not follow me, my name is not Jesus. Or follow the things I say, I call them creators. So if you are still now, you're a creator. So this is before and this is now, before and now. So you can just make it a lot neater. The next thing I want to do is add colors, and I'm going to show you how I add colors. So I'll pick on the brush tool, I'll come over here and I'll clip it. Now then I'll select this big, I'll choose a color that is like a base color here, and that is this. So I'll select the color here, press alternate and backspace. No, this is for the teeth. I selected the, not for the lip. Yeah, lip color. I'll put a layer on top. I'll clip it, obviously. That's why I talked about the clipping. I'm just going to show you what I meant about clipping. So I selected a layer like this, and I'll put color, and oh my god, this is so bad. But once I've clipped it to this part, I'll go to create clipping mask. Now it's confined just to the area of the lip, and then I'm going to go to normal, then I'll go to color. Now this is what I have. I don't think this is very nice, so I'm going to pick a warmer color, maybe this. Yeah, this is good, this is better. So once I've done something like this, the next thing I do is to add the teeth color. So I'm going to add a color for the teeth here. Yeah, this teeth color. I'm going to add now one of the things I usually used to do before was I usually take it to the blue before and give it this nice blue color like this, and she has a very nice teeth. Some people still do this, but that's very wrong. So what I want you to do is take it down a bit to this less saturated side. Now this part is the saturated side, that's why you see this caution sign. Now there's this part that is unsaturated. When I take this saturated side, you see Photoshop is going to notify that this part is saturated and this part is not so saturated. So I'm going to take it not saturated side and press alternate and backspace to add the color. So you see the difference. Now this is better, a lot better. So before and now. So you can just this is art, so, and it's smudge painting, so you need to add something nice. So for the inner light, I'm going to do the same thing, choose a color, then pick a color here and add a color inside, and yeah, this is what I have. Looks like a very ordinary image. So for the lip, one thing I usually do is to select this. Now for this is the lip color, and the top of the lip, I'm just going to add extra color. So what extra color are we adding? Watch now. I'm going to pick the brush tool and I'm going to turn off this old layer, then pick one of these layers that's a little bit dark or probably has this color variation here. Then I'm going to just paint over this, probably make the brush say 48 and 50 or something by 5 on your keyboard, and I'll come over here, I'll make this color, then just paint over this place, so something like this over this place. It's not going to be so bad, so when you are so confused, you can always turn it off and just paint. Just give us something that looks like the original picture. Is always going to make the picture a whole lot better. So one of the things I like doing is come to this base color here and just take the saturation, shift it to the right a little bit. Like when you choose this place, you take it to the right a bit, or take it to the right and take it up. So take it right and take it up a little bit. Now make the brush size, brush opacity 30 by pressing 3 on your keyboard, and I'm just going to add this part. So this is what I usually do. When you see that just add this part. Now when I've added it a little bit, the next thing I do is to take it up, take it to the side, just to add a little bit of saturation to it. You can make this opacity say 60 or something, and yeah, this. So I'm just going to turn off the ones and then see what is beneath. This is what I have beneath, so it's almost like what we have now. So this is not bad at all, not bad at all, not bad for business at all. I'm talking like so what I just basically did is to just take this down a bit, Okay, now this left, I'm going to add this right above this place. And yeah, so you can just add a little bit of color variation to this part. It always gives the picture this feel. Now I'm still going to add, probably with 20, I'm just going to add a little bit on the top lip here. And yeah, that's that. I don't want it to be so long. Now for the lip, the next thing I want to add is for this lip color still. Okay, now this is too long, I'm not seeing my layers. Okay, so I'm going to create a layer on top of this place. And for the top of the lip, I'm going to add an extra color. This is the base color. You can just keep naming your layers. And I'm going to select the layer here, and I'm going to make it very red, because this is where the lip and the teeth and those other stuff are. So I'm going to change this to color, and I'll select this, just give us something a little bit reddish. Giving us something a little bit reddish, it just gives you this gum feel, like, oh, this is a gum and stuff. Yeah, don't make it so much, just make it very, 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 very minimal. One of my best quotes of all time is by Leonardo da Vinci. It says, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. You know what it means? It means when you do things that are very simple, it comes out very sophisticated. Now the next thing I want to do is to add shadows and highlight. So this is the normal lip color, and I'm going to press Ctrl J here, and I'm going to name this shadows and highlights. Okay, so I'm going to use the O. Now I'm going to choose the shadows, the burn tool, and then I will choose mid-tone. And yeah, so basically what I'm doing with 20 as this exposure, I'm basically just adding a little bit of bevel right underneath this place. I'll do this, then when I come to the top of the lip here, I'll do this still. Now don't forget, I'm keeping at 20. I'm turning this protect tone off. Now it's not like this, I'm turning it off. I'm not trying to protect the tone, I'm giving it the tone I want, so not to protect the one the picture has already. So yeah, this is what I have. Now I do this. Now there's a little trick you can also add for like a place like this. You can just give this extra feel. Now by using your pen tool, you can just draw out where you want to draw a stroke, for example, and just make the brush a little bit like this, a little bit smaller. Like the burn tool, you can choose the burn tool, use your own shortcut. You can press enter. So this is what we have, so you can do that as well for this part. Just try to get something nice. So yeah, this is what we have. Doesn't look like it's so much. Sometimes when you are done, you can always smudge, to blend what you've done with the main picture. It's always nice, always is nice. So that's what we're basically doing. Now I've done this, I want to add the highlight as well. So I'm going to change over from burn to dodge. Now for dodge, the exposure, I'm still going to leave it at 20. Then watch, this is like the most important part. I'm just going to add highlight to this part. Then top of the lip, usually where light falls, after falling on the nose. If you have a big nose like I do, you would notice that. So now one thing I usually like doing is to put dramatic highlights, and put probably like 3 or 4, and that. Now for this part, the lip here, light usually falls here. It's not very, very obvious, but I like giving her this dramatic, giving any lip, not just her, this dramatic feel. Now for this part, I would come over to this for this part, so yeah, so then I'm just going to do this. Yeah, just go make the lip look a little bit glossy. So that's just basically what I'm doing. Just I'm adding my texture. Now I'm adding these lines by myself. They're not really there, but I'm just feeling like, oh, this lip, this is how the human lips are. There's no lip that's really, really, really very smooth and very, yeah, there's some lips that look very nice and kissable. Yeah, I finally said it. But it's not bad. So this is okay. This is okay. You can keep adding your highlights, you can keep adding your shadows, but don't make it too much. Remember what I said, don't make it too much. Now, one thing I usually use to clinch it is the teeth, the so I'm going to duplicate and clip as well. And for the highlights, for the teeth, I'm not going to add any bone. I'm just going to put highlights to this part, just add this part. Yeah, so I don't want it to be so much, so I'm just going to add a little bit of on all this part, on all this part. So just add for the teeth here, the base or this part. Yeah, so basically, then for the highlights, I can probably make it 10, make the brush quite bigger a bit. So just add little here, so she looks like she's having a dental advertisement. There are many nice dental advertisements that you can have around. So this is it. So one of the things I usually like doing is coming to this teeth part, the teeth layer, and yeah, for this part, for example, I'll come to teeth layer and press erase. Then I'm just going to make this part fade out a bit, so it looks a little bit real, because those are the parts that are going inwards into the teeth. So yeah, this is what we'll have. Okay, so do you think it's nice or not? So this is how this is how the lip was before, this is how we have now. So I think that might not be totally it, but still. Now the final touch I like doing is to change it to the color you saw before. Yeah, so to have a perfect color like that, I also just turn this off, have this till I have a perfect color. I just play with all these values. Now I make it dark a bit, now not so much because it's just in basically 2 and stuff. So I can just keep tweaking the colors until I have something. I think the magenta is where I need to work on a bit. No, not the cyan, the magenta, yellow. I can just keep add the warm color or stuff, but I know something is, this is where, yeah, something like this, make it a little bit yellowish, and stuff. And you can just keep going and going and going till you have a final image. But this isn't bad at all. Or then when you notice that you have a little bit of an issue, you can just keep adding highlights, adding midtones, adding shadows until you have something beautiful. But these are the steps I use to make this video. And of course, I'm already rounding off the video, so tell me what you think in the comment section. It's very, I think this part made the lip look very big here, so you can always come back to erase and start again. That's why I created a whole new layer for the shadows and highlights. Tell me what you think about the video. Do you think it's too long? Do you think the video is very nice? Do you think I should do more of these videos where I show just how I work on this part? Or you think, oh yeah, just do this, Armstrong, do this, so your wish is my command. I'm gonna meet you in the next video. Bye bye.